Hey y'all. So today I want to talk about how I've talked a little bit about this, but I want to go more into it. How you have the power to create the day that you want. And what I mean by that is in the morning before you decide your day, you can imagine what you feel like you would want your day to go. Just imagine. Allow your imagination to just take you wherever. Um, does not mean it's going to go exactly that way, but you're creating a positive atmosphere within yourself, with those around you. You're deciding that you're going to have a good day. And you think about too that, like not everything is in your control. Everything's not going to go your way. Like your car might break down. Somebody might be rude to you. Really bad things. Somebody could get fired, or, like things will still happen. But our response to those things is where our power is. That is what you have control over. You have control over how you respond to a certain situation. You can allow it to ruin your day, ruin your month, week, year, whatever. Or you can allow it to accept it and say, okay, this is happening. There's nothing I can do about it. Or maybe there is, depending on the situation. Your response is going to be what helps you get to the next day, hour, minute, So it's really paying attention to how you respond. Like if you go to the store and somebody's really rude to you, I think that sometimes it's our human nature to be rude right back, right? And but it's also a practice of peace and humility. Not that we're putting up with the stuff that people are, the way people are. It's seeing past their what they're going through and not taking it personal. Being able to separate it from you. Don't take it, because now all they've done now is transferred their anger to you. So now you're like, oh, I can't believe that lady said that to me. Oh, how rude. Oh, she just made me mad. Oh, 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 oh. And how different would it look like if you were just like, if she was just like, well, excuse me, or whatever, get away from me, or you rude. If somebody says stuff like that, then how different would it look like in a different scenario where you're just like, are you okay? Or, without being sarcastic. It's a practice. I think it's something that we all have to practice. Or if you notice somebody's is mad or whatever, give them some space. If you work with somebody that's always kind of attitudey, like just be like, oh, okay, like, you ever heard of that saying, kill them with kindness? That saying, it's kind of more of a sarcastic thing sometimes, I feel like, because now you're just being kind to them. I didn't learn it in the right, correct way. Like, I think that we want to be kind and considerate of other people, even when they're not that to us. And I think that's hard because we weren't taught that. and it's hard to practice that, and especially because it's the heat of the moment. You know, we take it so offensively, we take it on as ourselves, and it's just being able to completely separate it and say, no, that's not mine. That's what she's going through, and she's reflecting it on me. And I'm not going to wear it. I'm not going to take it and carry it. You know, like, I'm going to separate it from me, and I'm going to keep on having my good day, right? You know, get yourself back out there and say, okay, you know, and when you do notice something that bothers you, that creates a little anger or, you know, like frustration or something, I challenge you to go deep in that. Go deep into that that thought and why it made you mad. You know, somebody cut you off on the road. Why'd that make you mad? Some people like to be mad, but you know, there's a reason why it made you mad, because that doesn't make everybody mad. I mean, I get a little bit mad, but I've seen some people get really, really, really mad, and you know, it's like, whoa, you know, like, and maybe it's a learned response. But you also, I think, being able to pull yourself back. We don't know what that person's going through. She might be late for a job that she's a single mom. Maybe she's about to be late for this job, and she's late one more time, then she's going to get fired, and now she don't know how, you know. So for her, she is not caring about nobody else but herself and her children, and that's okay. I mean, that is her. She's in survival mode. That's what she has a weight on her shoulders, and for her right now, that's all that's on her mind. She's in survival mode. If anybody's ever seen the movie Straws, that movie is actually, it will show you, you never know what somebody's going through. So just be kind, you know, and if it makes you mad that somebody does something, you know, you own what makes you mad and really discover why, because chances are what made you mad probably led to something to do with your childhood. A lot of people don't think they have child trauma because they didn't experience anything very bad, like physically, but I think that sometimes the slow drip of trauma and very disguised and manipulated kind of trauma, or unknown, not really realizing the way you were conditioned, things that we believed, things we heard in church. There's a lot of things that we were misled, and when things go against that sometimes, or things that, okay, so there's going against some of the things that we believe that can make us mad, things that we learned, and you know, maybe it was people that truly meant well. Maybe it was people that didn't know as well. People don't know what they don't know. And I think that that's the place where forgiveness comes in. And I have myself have struggled with not just, I mean, forgiving other people, yeah, that's hard, but forgiving yourself, that's where it gets to be really challenging. I feel like it's easier sometimes to forgive other people because I'm able to say, you know, like, hey, that has nothing to do with me. They didn't know. They don't know what they didn't know. You know, like, they're only, you know, living out their learned responses and, you know, their coping methods, and that's the only way they know how to cope. So it's really like I'm able to forgive them. But then to put that back on myself, to say, it's easier, like I said, easier than, and then I had this conversation with God, and and I felt like God was just like, well, why is it so easy for you to forgive others? And I told God my answer. Well, because they didn't know, and they were only doing what they're coping, like they're only doing what they learned how to do, and da 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 da. And then I knew where God was going with this, because I felt like he was just like, okay. I knew the next question that was coming, and it was just like, so why is it so hard for you to forgive yourself? And it was more like, what about you? Like, weren't you conditioned? Weren't you, did you know what you were doing was wrong at the time? I did, but I didn't know anything different. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know how else to cope with it. So I think that back to my original thought is that we do have the power within us. I'm just going to let the Spirit just really lead. I try to avoid talking about like God too much, because I know that there is some people do have a thing against God, and I get it. I was there too. I was mad at God for the longest time, and but it was a portrayal of an angry God that I don't believe in. I believe in Jesus. I believe that Jesus came to reveal who the Father was, and always has been, and always will be. It's love. And so for me, I really like to just talk about how God is, whatever you want to call him. He's good, he's kind, patient, loving. He sees people, he hears people, he's with them. He's not abandoning God. He doesn't leave you even whenever you're sinning and in the depths of your despair. He doesn't leave. So really just understanding that power, the Spirit that lives within us all, and coming back to that identity of who you are, and that you have that within you to create the day you want. So back to just a recap on one of the other videos that I was talking about, that you have the power to set the tone for your day, and that's basically the situation too. Like, so how are you starting your day? Are you hitting the alarm clock, checking your Facebook or Messenger, the very first thing? Is that what you're doing? Or jumping on the news, watching the news. How's your morning starting? Are you reflecting on things? Are you just laying there thinking about some things? Do you read? Do you listen to something positive? Do you worship? Do you meditate? Go for a walk, sit on the porch, just have some peace. Start your day off with something peaceful. Because I don't know about you, but my days of rolling out of bed and hurry, rush, it's caused a lot of stress in my life. So I try to be mindful of the time throughout the morning, but I really just try to allow my morning to just go the way I go with the flow. So I just like to I have some things on my mind that I want to accomplish in the morning before I go to work, but sometimes other things, like I was actually going to do some laundry and stuff, but I just had a message on my heart that I really just wanted to share with you all. So yeah, I just kind of got off of the beating path. But I will get back on my path because I do have to go to work. So I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed, peaceful, kind day, and I just hope that something amazing happens. Have a good day. Bye.